To address the issues facing Tennesseans today, from 10 News, this is Inside Tennessee.
Good Sunday morning and welcome to Inside Tennessee. I'm your moderator, John North. John Becker is away this morning. Our topic this morning is about one of the hardest jobs an elected official could ever have, and that's to be on the school board. It is a tough job indeed. We're joined today by three Knox County School Board members. We've got Patti Bounds with us, Evetty Satterfield, and Virginia Babb. Welcome to all three of you. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning, and I should tell the viewers that all three of you have been on for at least 4 years. Patti, I think you've had 2 terms, so 8 years, but you've made the decision that this will be it. Come August, your time will be up, and somebody else will be taking your seats. That's something that we want to talk about for sure. Actually, there's quite a lot I'd like to talk to you all about, but can we start, please, with this? We're all tired of talking about the virus, obviously, but at this point, as we sit here on Sunday morning and talk to each other at the end of January, can you assess how you think this school year has gone so far, all things considered, and it's had its ups and downs? And Patti, can we start with you?
Certainly. I don't think this year has been any easier than the last. In some ways, I think it's actually been more difficult, especially for our youngest students. So I'm constantly, I think, we're just in a difficult place, but I do think our youngest are suffering the most, coming from a kindergarten teacher.
And Evetty, we just had a week where Austin East was virtual for a week. I think they were the only school in the system, in Knox County system, that was that way. How do you think we're doing so far in terms of COVID response and trying to cope with that in Knox County schools?
Yeah, I think the important thing is that we're reminded that we are in a pandemic. And so we are trying to operate as normal as possible within a pandemic. And so for that to be the situation that we're in, I believe Knox County Schools is doing the best that we can. And the response is just because we have fatigue and we have our teachers are sick and they're catching the virus as well. So I'm grateful that Superintendent Thomas listened to the principal and said, hey, I don't have enough staff to make sure that we're doing what's best for our students. And what we have right now is not where teachers are not able to teach, is not best for our students. So taking this week off so everyone can get healed, I think was the best response.
And Virginia, what are your thoughts about how we're doing so far?
Well, I think we're at this point that I think nobody thought we'd still be dealing with this. I mean, I think we all thought this was going to be a momentary blip, that we were going to be dealing with this COVID. And I think everybody's just so tired of it. And so people get tired of not being able to live their lives normally. And I think there's been a huge burden on our school administrators and our teachers on trying to make life as normal as possible in a time that's not normal.
It seems to me, and I'd be interested in your perceptions, that this go-around has been particularly difficult for the employees, the teachers and staff. What do you think about that?
I would agree with that. I mean, I think I think so many people just want life to be normal. But like Evetty talked about, we're having unprecedented sickness right now with this Omicron virus. And some people are sicker than other people, but it's causing people to quarantine. We're having staffing shortages. But it's the teachers that are really having to pull up the slack and trying to make life as normal as possible, trying to continue the education that we need to be delivering to our students, and dealing with a lot of pressures at home. They're having to deal with pandemic on their personal life also, but just trying to make school as good as possible for their students, but in still a not normal time.
Evetty, do you have any thoughts on whether Austin East might have to face this again, or are you picking up any indications about how things might be going forward?
I don't think the situation is limited to Austin East. Like, we were the first school to go virtual this semester. We could possibly see it over and over, especially if the virus doesn't dwindle down. Just because there's a shortage. There was a teacher shortage at some of our schools before the virus, and so the virus has just heightened that shortage. And there's no subs to fill in the space. So I think the biggest approach that we can do from a school system side is how do we incentivize even more people to go into substitute teaching so that we don't have to close our buildings.
Our timing with you guys joining us this morning is very good because, as you know, tomorrow, Monday, Governor Lee has his State of the State address. There's been some speculation that he will address perhaps a new school funding formula or something to help out public schools better. As you all well know, there have been weeks of discussion, which his administration brought up, about how do we fix so-called BEP, or what do we do? I'd love to hear from all three of you, starting with you, Patti, about what your hopes or expectations are and why parents at home should care about this.
Well, every year when we send our priorities to the legislature, we always include BEP, and BEP funding has always been a problem. I think what everybody is holding their breath for is this going to take money away from Knox County schools? And we just don't have the answers for that yet. I don't think any of us know the details of Governor Lee's proposal, so we will be listening closely and seeing how it impacts our schools here in Knox County.
And Evetty, what about your thoughts?
Yeah, when it comes to the BEP, my hope, whatever comes out of it, is that people are able to understand it more, and that is not as complex as it is, so that people can be informed and advocate in the best way for each community that's different. When you're looking at a statewide BEP formula, you have rural districts and you have big cities and you have middle cities throughout the state of Tennessee. And so I think the biggest thing that I want to come out of this revamping of the BEP is that it's not as complicated and people can understand how our money goes into our public education system.
And Virginia, you and I talked a little bit earlier today about this, but what are you sort of hoping you can hear, assuming he addresses it, I think he will, tomorrow from Governor Lee?
Well, I feel like since we've been on the board, we've all not liked the BEP formula. I mean, you hear that over and over again. And so I do have to applaud Governor Lee for trying to tackle it. When it first came out and we heard about the listening sessions that Penny Schwinn was going to do across the state, I think all of us were like, okay, this is a way to backdoor fund vouchers and that kind of thing. The one thing I do feel good about is I listened into a session where Penny Schwinn met with the governor and really went about talking about the listening sessions across the state. And when Governor Lee asked, what are people worried about? And she said that this is a way to fund vouchers. I loved hearing him say, that is not what this is about. We have got to get that message out. This is not trying to do that. And I'm going to try to take him for his word that he's true about that. The biggest thing that I heard when I went to the listening session here at UT was, I think most of us feel like the problem is not how are we dividing up the pie of money for education, but that the pie isn't big enough. And it's not reallocating money around the state differently. It's the fact that we're in the bottom, 40 of state funding, and we've got to figure out a way to put more money into funding education across the state. And that'll benefit Knox County, but it'll benefit education across the state. And so I think just none of us know. And I mean, we're in the midst of normally going through our budgeting sessions and strategies and things like that. And I mean, we're trying to do the best we can on the Knox County side, but when we don't know what we're getting from the state right now, it's very hard to really plan and budget for next year.
It's been a persistent criticism about the state of Tennessee and something we'll all be watching closely come tomorrow. We've reached a point where it's a good time to take a break. You may need another cup of coffee. You're watching Inside Tennessee, and we'll be back in just a minute.